Hello, book lovers! Welcome to Read with Fatim, where every story comes to life in just a few minutes.
Today, we're not just reading a book, we're stepping into a truly epic adventure, the grand, beautiful, and sometimes heartbreaking finale of a story that has captured the hearts of people all around the world we're talking about by the brilliant J.K. Rowling. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Did you know this book broke records? When it first came out, it sold millions of copies in just 24 hours. It wasn't just an ending, it was a cultural moment. And that's because this story is about more than just magic. It's about the biggest, most important things in life. Courage when everything feels scary, the power of friendship to face the darkest times, and finding your own destiny, even when you feel lost. In this final journey, we learn that the greatest darkness often hides the brightest light. We see that love is the oldest and strongest kind of magic there is. So, take a deep breath, dear friends. Imagine the scent of old parchment and wood smoke, hear the whisper of a phoenix feather, and feel the pull of a secret, hidden quest. I'm taking your hand now. Let's open the final chapter together and step into a world where everything is at stake. The world felt like it was holding its breath. The usual safety of the magical world had cracked, letting in a chilling, shadowy fear. Our Harry was no longer a schoolboy. He was a young man with the weight of prophecy resting on his shoulders. He had just turned 17, the age when the most protective charms on him would finally break, and it meant he had to leave the only home he'd ever truly known. We start with a daring escape, a moment of pure cinematic tension called the Seven Potters. Imagine 7 people, all disguised as Harry, using a complicated potion, soaring through the night sky on broomsticks and thestrals. The real Harry was riding with the giant Hagrid on a motorcycle, and the sky was suddenly filled with screaming green light as the Dark Lord's followers attacked. The air was thick with spells and the smell of burnt leaves. They fought their way through, but the victory was bittersweet. They lost a dear friend, the brave Hedwig, Harry's snowy owl, whose beautiful, loyal life ended in a flash of green light. A true, piercing sorrow settled over Harry. The refuge they found was the whimsical, colourful home of the Weasley family, the Burrow, but even there, the shadow of danger crept closer. It was here, during Bill and Fleur's lovely wedding, that the joy was abruptly shattered. A silvery Patronus, shaped like a weasel, crashed into the tent with a terrible whispered warning. The Ministry has fallen, the Minister of Magic is dead. They are coming. The celebration turned instantly into chaos, a whirlwind of panicked people and rushing black-robed figures. Harry, Ron, and Hermione had to vanish, leaving behind the warmth of home and family for the cold, vast unknown. They found a temporary hiding place in the heart of London, in the dusty, quiet house that once belonged to Sirius Black, number 12, Grimmauld Place. It was a lonely, silent haven, but even within its walls, the mission was clear. They had to find the remaining pieces of Voldemort's soul, called Horcruxes, and destroy them. This quest was all that mattered, a secret burden given to Harry by the late Albus Dumbledore. Their only clues were an odd golden locket and Dumbledore's strange will, which left Ron a magical deluminator, a little device that could suck the light out of a room, Hermione, a book of children's stories, and Harry, the mythical snitch he caught in his first Quidditch game. The objects felt like riddles, but the greatest threat was the Horcrux locket they soon realized was hidden within Grimmauld Place. They found it, a heavy cold gold chain that radiated a terrible negativity, making them feel angry, sad, and suspicious of each other. This was not just a mission, it was a psychological battle. They were just teenagers wandering in the wilderness, camping in gloomy forests, sharing meager meals, and keeping watch. The vastness of the woods and the cold of their isolation made the world feel impossibly huge and empty. They were hunting a monster's soul, and the soul fought back, making them feel utterly alone even when they were together. The weight of the locket was a physical manifestation of their stress, fear, and hopelessness, a constant whisper of doubt and despair. They were 3 friends, bound by destiny, facing a world that had turned its back on them. The hardest part was realizing that Dumbledore had left them with such confusing breadcrumbs, and trust, the very foundation of their fight, was now the most fragile thing they possessed. The Horcrux locket was an anchor dragging them down. It radiated such poison that the three friends had to take turns wearing it, and its negative influence soon began to pick at the threads of their friendship. The air was often thick with unspoken accusations and mounting frustration. Ron, ever the most emotionally expressive, finally snapped. In a moment of intense anger and feeling unwanted, he unleashed all his fears and doubts, and in a heartbreaking decision, he left Harry and Hermione alone in the woods. The sound of his pop as he disapparated was like a loud tear in the fabric of their unity, leaving a silence that was colder than any winter night. Harry and Hermione were devastated, leaning on each other but feeling an enormous cavernous emptiness where their best friend used to be. Their quest took them into dangerous territory, the Ministry of Magic itself. They knew the real locket had been stolen by the cruel Dolores Umbridge, who now worked for the Dark Regime. So, under the disguise of Polyjuice Potion, Harry, Ron, and Hermione walked right into the enemy's heart. The Ministry was a terrifying place, filled with propaganda posters and the smell of fear, where innocent people were being interrogated. The scene was overwhelming. The vast, cold atrium, the sound of boots on the marble floor, and the casual cruelty of the new government. They managed a thrilling, terrifying escape, seizing the Horcrux from Umbridge's neck in a burst of confusion and spells, but their cover was blown. They were now known fugitives, hunted wherever they went. They soon found themselves in the quiet, snowy village of Godric's Hollow, the birthplace of Harry, and the place where his parents died. It was a pilgrimage, a hopeful quest for answers. The village was breathtakingly beautiful under a blanket of snow, with the ghosts of Christmas past and the memory of love hanging in the air. They found the graves of James and Lily Potter, a moment of profound, aching sadness for Harry. But their peaceful moment was interrupted by an ambush. An old woman, Bathilda Bagshot, an old historian and friend of Dumbledore's, turned out to be a vessel for the massive snake, Nagini, who was controlled by Voldemort. The fight was sudden and violent, a shattering of the quiet reverence of the graveyard, and in the chaos, Hermione's wand was broken. They escaped by the slimmest margin, leaving the snowy quiet for the fear of the open road again. It was during a cold night, keeping watch in a dark forest, that a small, quiet miracle occurred. Harry spotted a mysterious silver Patronus, a doe, gliding through the trees. It was gentle and beckoning, and it led him through the snow to a frozen pond. At the bottom of the icy water, hidden like a treasure, was the legendary Sword of Gryffindor, which they knew could destroy the Horcrux. As Harry tried to reach it, the cold locket tightened around his neck, trying to choke him, flooding his mind with despair. Just when he was about to give up, Ron reappeared. Our dearest Ron, guided by the very deluminator Dumbledore had left him, had followed a whisper of light and found his friends at their darkest moment. He saved Harry from drowning, and, in a moment of pure, fiery friendship, he used the sword to destroy the poisonous, whispering locket. The locket's destruction was a moment of bright, explosive relief, clearing the air and allowing the three friends to finally breathe again, united and whole once more. The quest felt possible again, and the magic of their friendship was proven to be stronger than any dark magic. With Ron back and one Horcrux destroyed, the mission felt refocused, but the riddles Dumbledore left them remained. The strange symbol they had seen, a vertical line, a circle, and a triangle, was popping up everywhere. This symbol, they learned from the eccentric, brilliant Xenophilius Lovegood, represented the Deathly Hallows. 3 legendary objects, the Elder Wand, the Resurrection Stone, and the Cloak of Invisibility, that, when possessed together, were said to make the user the Master of Death. This new knowledge was dazzling, but distracting. It presented a dangerous choice for Harry: pursue a personal, powerful myth, or stick to the quiet, vital quest of destroying the remaining Horcruxes. Harry knew, with a heavy heart, that the Horcruxes were the only true path to victory. Their travels became more desperate. The Dark Lord's regime grew stronger, and the magical world was rife with fear and betrayal. The friends soon found themselves in the worst possible trap. They were captured and dragged to the beautiful but now terrible Malfoy Manor. This was a nightmare moment. Harry, Ron, and Hermione were prisoners in a cold, echoing mansion ruled by pure malice. Hermione was subjected to unimaginable cruelty, by the insane, terrifying Bellatrix Lestrange, who carved a dreadful, painful word into her arm. Harry and Ron, locked away, could only hear Hermione's screams, a sound that tore at their souls. It was in this moment of utter despair that salvation came from an unexpected source. Dobby, the house elf. Imagine a creature so small, so humble, but filled with the largest, most burning loyalty. Dobby, a free elf, appeared in a flash, his huge green eyes filled with determination. He helped the prisoners escape the clutches of the monstrous Lestrange and the cold Malfoy family. The escape was chaotic and brilliant, a flash of spells and apparition. They managed to seize a few valuable clues, including the magnificent sword of Gryffindor, which was now in Bellatrix's vault. But as they vanished, the smallest, bravest hero paid the ultimate price. Dobby was struck down and died in Harry's arms on the soft white sand of the seashore. It was a quiet, profound tragedy. The loss of Dobby, who died a free, loving spirit, brought a deep and cleansing sorrow to Harry. He chose to dig Dobby's grave by hand, a silent, heartfelt testament to the power of kindness and loyalty. They retreated to the safety of Bill and Fleur's seaside cottage, Shell Cottage, a place that smelled of salt and security. Here, the final piece of the Horcrux puzzle clicked into place. Bellatrix had panicked about them stealing the sword from her vault at the heavily guarded Gringotts Bank. This meant one thing: another Horcrux, a beautiful, valuable item, was hidden inside that vault, a bank vault, protected by dragons and complicated magic. It was a terrifying, almost impossible target, but it was the final destination. The three friends, now veterans of the war, looked at each other, their faces grimy and tired, but their eyes burning with a fierce, quiet resolve. The only way to win was to be bold, to take the most massive risk imaginable. They planned to break into the most secure place in the wizarding world. The rhythm of their journey was about to turn from a quiet march into a desperate final sprint. The plan to break into Gringotts was the stuff of legend. Disguised with Polyjuice Potion once more, they entered the dazzling marble hall of the Wizard Bank. But the security was fierce. They had to face a half-blind, mistrustful goblin, fight their way past powerful security charms, and then, in the deep, cold depths, they encountered a terrifying, huge, blind dragon guarding the final Horcrux. The sight of the beast, chained and scarred, was heartbreaking, but it was also their ticket out. They managed to retrieve the Horcrux, Helga Hufflepuff's cup, from the vault, but they did so in a way that caused maximum mayhem. Their escape was the most spectacular image of all, riding on the back of the magnificent screaming dragon as it smashed its way out of the bank and soared high over London, finally setting the majestic, mistreated creature free. The destruction of the cup sent a massive jolt through the Dark Lord. He finally understood what Harry was doing, and his fury was immense. Through their connection, Harry realized the last Horcrux was hidden at the one place that felt like home and safety, Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. The return to Hogwarts was the emotional peak of the story. They entered through a secret tunnel, greeted by a school full of students and teachers waiting for a call to arms. The moment they arrived, the castle became a battlefield. Voldemort and his army attacked. The Battle of Hogwarts was a terrifying, chaotic symphony, spells flying, stone statues coming to life to defend the castle, and the heartbreaking reality of friends and mentors fighting and falling. The castle, usually a place of warm light and learning, was now a dangerous ruin. Harry, Ron, and Hermione raced through secret passages, the Room of Requirement, and empty classrooms to find the last Horcrux, Rowena Ravenclaw's diadem. They finally found it in the vast hidden Room of Requirement, and it was destroyed by a wild, cleansing fiend-fire curse. With only one Horcrux left, which Harry finally realized must be Nagini, the snake, the ultimate confrontation was upon them. But the biggest revelation was still to come. Harry learned the heartbreaking, true story of Severus Snape through the memories the dying professor gave him. Snape, the cold, harsh teacher, was not a villain, but a hero whose lifelong, burning love for Harry's mother, Lily, had made him Dumbledore's secret spy. He was protecting Harry all along, working in the deepest shadows. This was the most moving truth of all, that love could create such a fierce, quiet loyalty. Harry then realized the final, most terrifying truth. He was himself an accidental Horcrux. A part of Voldemort's soul was lodged inside him, And for Voldemort to truly die, Harry had to stand still and accept his own death. This was the moment of ultimate courage. Harry walked into the dark forest, holding the resurrection stone from the Hallows, and was surrounded by the ghostly, comforting figures of his parents, Sirius and Lupin. He walked not in fear, but in quiet, profound acceptance. Voldemort struck him down with the killing curse. But love, as Dumbledore had taught, was the deepest magic. The curse destroyed the Horcrux within Harry, but Harry himself survived. Protected by the ancient magic of his mother's sacrifice and the fact that Voldemort had used Harry's blood to resurrect himself, Harry awoke in a beautiful, ethereal space, a ghostly King's Cross station, and chose to return. He came back to the shattered, smoking grounds of Hogwarts and faced Voldemort one final time in the chaos. Nagini was destroyed by the brave Neville Longbottom, leaving Voldemort vulnerable. Harry revealed the whole truth. The Elder Wand's true master was not Voldemort, but Harry himself. The final fatal spell rebounded, and the Dark Lord fell, no longer a powerful phantom, but just a mortal man. The war was over. What an incredible journey, dear friends. Reading Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows is a powerful experience, full of highs and lows. For me, the main message is about how love and choice are far more powerful than destiny or dark magic. Harry wasn't a hero because he was chosen. He was a hero because, at the very end, he chose to walk toward death for the sake of everyone else. That moment of sacrifice, that quiet, ultimate act of love, is what saves the world. This book made me feel a deep, comforting sense of closure and hope. Even though there was so much sadness, the final image of the castle being rebuilt, of friends standing together, and of the world being safe and bright again is such a warm, wonderful feeling. It reminds us that even when the darkness feels total, kindness, loyalty, and remembering the people you love will always light the way back. So, dear friends, as we close this book, I want to leave you with a question to tuck into your hearts. What is the deepest, strongest magic you believe in? Thank you for reading with me, for dreaming with me, and for sharing this journey. Until our next adventure, keep reading, keep dreaming, and keep believing in the power of your own light. Bye for now.